story time. So sometime I'll go. I picked up this shift at the surgery center. Surprise, surprise. And when I got there, things were actually smooth sailing. Real cool. The charge nurse gave me my little 15-second orientation and I hit the ground running. Honestly, with a lot of these surgery centers and a lot of floor nursing gigs, nursing is nursing is nursing. It's just a matter of getting familiar with the documentation system and telling me where I can find everything that I need for the shift. After that, you Gucci. So at this surgery center, things were going well. The charge nurse was super supportive. If I had any questions, she was more than willing to answer them. And I had gotten my first patient, and we had gotten to a point where the patient needed pain medication. She had an extensive surgery, so I didn't want to play any games. I was like, let's just go ahead and hit the narcotics up, get this pain under control. The amount of pain that she was in was expected. So I walked over to the medication area, and of course the narcotics are in a separate box within the same area, locked up. I don't have the key. Why would I have the key? I'm a registry. So I reach out to another nurse and I'm like, hey, can I ask you to assist me in pulling a narcotic medication for my patient? And I have the little patient label in my hand so that she can see. And in other cases, you also need the order in your hand, so that you and that other nurse can see that the medication that is being pulled is not just your idea. Okay? So when I asked her, this particular nurse, who we can call Janice was like, oh no, I don't want nothing to do with that. Okay. I didn't even take any offense to it. I'm a registry nurse, and I'm sure that in past experiences, people have had issues with registry nurses and them being a co-signer on a narcotic and then being pulled into some nonsense. Fine. You don't have to trust me, and my feelings are not hurt. Don't even worry about it. So fast forward. I asked the charge nurse. I was like, hey, can you just come offer me a little bit of assistance? She was super helpful. She helped me. We pulled the narcotic. We looked at the order together, the patient name, everything was appropriate. I gave my patient her pain medication. Time comes and goes. It's time for my patient to go home. Her pain was under control. And I was getting another patient. Now, mind you, even though the surgery center itself, the vibe was cool, you know, like it was cool. I wasn't like super buddy-buddy. Like I wasn't crazy about getting in there and chatting everybody up. However, everybody that worked together obviously they're all familiar with one another. So they were chatting one another up about the little incident that happened with me and Janice earlier that morning when she was like, oh no, oh no. Okay. And one of the nurses were like, oh my God, she's always doing that weird shit. Oh my goodness. And I'm not really paying it too much attention, but it's also, it's hard not to listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a surgery center, okay? The pre-op area and the PACU area aren't that far away from one another. The nurse's station is in the middle. There isn't like a whole lot of space. I can hear them. So, sorry, my chair is creaking. So, at one point, the same nurse, Janet, makes an announcement that she's taking her lunch. The charge nurse is now up at the front nurse's station getting ready to start covering people for their breaks and their lunches. It's that time of the day. And so she's in the middle of asking another nurse, hey, can I take report on your patient so that you can go take your 15-minute break? Here come Janice, I'm taking my break. So then the charge nurse, who we can call Jackie, was like, wait, whoa, wait a minute. Wait, you didn't even get here early enough to take a break this early. There's like 3 people that have to go before you. And she was like, I know, but I got a phone call and I got all this other stuff. And so then Jackie was like, okay, well, do you have patience? I don't know what's in my throat. Excuse me. Okay, I think we got it. So anyways, Jackie was like, do you have patience? And Janice was like, well, yeah, but I'll be right back. Everybody is literally standing there staring at Janice like, bruh. Now, you know, that's not how things go. You don't just walk away from your patients and be like, I'll be right back. So then Jackie's like, can you just please give me a quick report? You know, like, we're all trying to, in my understanding, I guess everybody's just looking at her like she probably has something going on where she's just not thinking straight. And, you know, at the end of the day, stuff like that does happen. You know, like somebody might get strange news, family member passing, whatever's going on, and you just kind of stop thinking about what you need to be thinking about right now, and that news is all you can think about. Such is life. Whatever. We don't know if that's the case, but everybody's still genuinely trying to give homegirl the benefit of the doubt. At least that's what it feels like. So then she starts rattling off report on her patients in the middle of the nurses, like the middle of the surgery center. And so Jackie's like, well, wait a minute. Oh my gosh. Come over here and maybe speak a little softer so that you're not announcing all of these patients' information in front of all of these other patients. So she goes over there, she gives report, she walks out. And obviously, after she walks out, all of the other nurses are like, rightfully so, though. Like, Janice was acting hella strange. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to put my 2 cents into a situation that I am not going to be in for too long. I'm just here to pick up this shift and go home. So she walks out and she says she forgot something after everybody's all looking at one another all weird. And it's just a matter of seconds before everybody starts to discuss how weird it is or inquire or, you know, guesstimate or speculate, you know, what could possibly be going on when Janice walks back in saying that she forgot her keys. Okay, go get your keys. You know, you want to go sit in your car for your break. Fine, go get your keys. So as she's walking past, I'm sitting next to a patient's bed, kind of leaning over the bedside table, getting my paper documentation done. A lot of surgery centers still do paper documentation, but the paper documentation is so minimal that honestly, sometimes I prefer that over computer documentation. So that all being said, as she's walking by, I'm in that position, leaned over, doing my paper documentation, and I just happened to glance up in time to see another nurse look down, just kind of look her up and down, appraise her. And her eyes get kind of wide. And so as she walks past, obviously to go into the locker room to get her stuff, the nurse that stared at her, like, leaned over and said something to the charge nurse. I don't know what she said. Again, your girl is actively just trying to mind her business, but also not really, but also kind of, you know what I'm saying? So as Janice is walking back, Jackie, the charge nurse, whose ear was just whispered in by another nurse, was like, can I just ask you a super quick question, Janice? Jackie asked Janice, can I just ask you a super quick question? So Janice just stops and stares at her, and she's like, well, what do you have to ask me? Immediately super defensive. And she was like, well, can you step over here? I would just like to ask you a super quick question. It's just about the schedule. I don't want to forget. Legit. So she was like, I would just prefer that you ask me when I'm done. You know, I really want to get on this call. She brings up this special call again. So Jackie was like, yeah, but I just don't want to forget. So then Janice is like in a huff and walks over there and sticks her hand in her pocket. Now they're talking softly to one another until eventually Jackie's like, I need you to empty your pockets. So Janice immediately gets offended and demands that everybody leave her alone. She's going to leave for the day. She's got way too much going on for this nonsense right now. And so Jackie was like, I really did not want this to get to this point. Things do not have to be like this. I asked you to come over here quietly, and things are escalating because you're not allowing it to not happen in such a, loud, dramatic fashion. Me personally, I probably wouldn't have asked her to empty her pockets in front of everybody, but also in other cases, I kind of feel like maybe Jackie felt like she needed witnesses. I don't know. Either way, what happened. She asked her to empty her pockets, and Janice immediately became defensive. And so, eventually, Jackie turned to the nurse that whispered in her ear in the first place and was like, you might need to call security. So then that nurse scurries off, and then Janice busses it out of the surgery center. So then, y'all, at this point, I'm no longer leaned over on this bedside table. I want to see what's going on. So I run over to the window, the little window that's in a corner. I don't really know how to truly explain it, but a lot of surgery centers, you don't really see the outside. So I go over to this little window and I see a security guard basically tackle Janice to the ground, pick her up, walk her back in. Everybody wants to see what's going on, including me. And yes, he sticks his hand in her pocket and he pulls out a handful of vials. Narcotics, like medications. There's fentanyl, there's Dilaudid, there's Versed, vials in her hand. My speculation is that homegirl was probably like in the middle of a drug deal. I know that seems really dramatic. She kept on immediately, in a rush, in the middle of patient care, wanted to run outside, needed to go outside, needed to leave with a bulging pocket. I don't know, man. The more I'm in this profession, the less and less I'm beginning to feel like things are far-fetched. Like the less and less things are becoming unbelievable. If I hear a crazy story, I'm less likely to be like, and more likely to be like, really? Okay, tell me more. What happened? It's kind of sad how so many nurses, unfortunately, do turn to narcotics. Narcotic addiction is a huge deal in the nursing world. It's depressing. I don't know. I also kind of want to utilize this story to spread awareness. This is part of the reason why the whole administering narcotic medication, counting narcotic medication, there are so many procedures where narcotic medications are concerned because of how big of an issue it is with addiction and stealing. And I've had so many experiences that often mimic another because of how frequently I am frequenting surgery centers, hospitals that are so different from the other, It's sad. It was an interesting experience. Ultimately, they did end up having to call the police. She was demanding that her lawyer get involved. I don't know how she was thinking she was going to get out of this. The drugs were pulled from her pocket. Oh, my bad, y'all. I lost my light. Anyways, back to the story. I was saying I wasn't sure how she was going to get out of this because the drugs were pulled from her pocket. Either way, it is a pretty unfortunate situation. It's not new. It has been happening. And being a nurse ain't no walk in the park for a number of reasons. That is the end of the story there. With that being said, a new episode of Zyla is available. If it's not available by the time this video has been posted, it will be available in just a few more minutes. Not to worry. This is my content posting day. So thank you. Thank you for your patience and thank you for joining.